Young Thug ain't hurt. He's jealous. What up, words? Boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit notification bell. Keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG. Join the membership gang. Listen, over the last couple days, we've seen a barrage of quote unquote leaks from Young Thug in prison, going off about this, that, and the third, being very disrespectful, rude, and obnoxious about a lot of his contemporaries, his friends, his co-defendants, and things of that nature. Even very disloyal to a degree to his girlfriend, who apparently allegedly has left him for some reason. Beautiful girl, Mariah the Scientist, who stood by him for the whole bid. Let's just be honest. I don't know of any infidelity, but it doesn't even matter because whatever he got, he low-key deserved it. Let's just be honest. Now, what we're going to talk about right now is when I look at the big picture after this interview. Salute to my guy, I think his name is Bank, who secured this interview. I'm sure that they are some type of friends or homies or something. Bank from the podcast named Perspectives, who has clipped up this interview. I don't believe the full interview has dropped, but what's glaringly obvious to me in these clips, which they're making the rounds, they're making a lot of noise, and some of them are they're very interesting, right? But anyone that really has any knowledge from a street level perspective, and not even a street level, just a knowledge of the law and just human nature, you can pretty much tell that when you peel back the layers, and I'm going to play this clip from this, it's a lot of clips, but the one clip that I want to focus on is the one where Young Thug is going off about Gunna, how Gunna did the most obvious and blatant act of betrayal he's ever seen. And I have yet to hear Young Thug say certain things that I want to point out. It's a few questions I got for Young Thug, but when I peel back the layers of how he's shielding everyone else that took the plea deals, even though himself, he's home because he himself took a plea deal. Somehow, some way, Gunna's plea deal is far worse. Gunna, in his mind, is the betrayer, and he took the deal first, so that makes everyone who took it after him just helpless dominoes. You know how you knock a domino down and all the dominoes have no choice but to fall? So according to Thug, by Thug's nigga logic, and there's that word again, his nigga logic, somehow, some way, all of the other defendants, I believe it was 28 defendants, and most of them took pleas and did this, that, and the third, but they would have never took pleas had Gunna not took his plea first. Well, they've already proven online that Gunna was not first. In fact, there was a gentleman, his street name, I believe, is DK, and he took his plea 2 days before Gunna. Now, there's a lot of back and forth. They're trying to do a lot of mental gymnastics and say, well, Gunna was talking about his plea first, but at the end of the day, by law, when you file paperwork, if I file mine 2 days before you, guess what? I filed it before you. So in any event, when I peel back the layers of what's going on with Young Thug is 100% jealous of Gunna. This has nothing to do with a deep friendship that he's trying to claim. It has nothing to do with he feels like everyone would have stayed solid if it wasn't for Gunna. All of this stuff is jealousy. Gunna is doing very well. He thought Gunna was going to get out and flop, and Gunna came out and pretty much flourished. Gunna's about to hand in his last album. Gunna's making by far better music according to the people who listen to Gunna. Most of the internet says that Gunna music is A1, and he's on pace to make one of the best albums of the year. This is the second time they're saying that. So he is actually flourishing while Young Thug just threw a dud of a record. I hadn't even listened to the record fully until today via watching it through another YouTube creator, and the record is one of the worst records I've ever heard in my life. His rapping is awful, and the beat is awful. The mixdown is awful. I believe it was Screwface. Screwface did a review of the Closing Arguments record by Young Thug. It sounds like, I used to do a lot of open mics, and it sounds worse than a lot of the guys that jumped up there that have no direction, didn't know what was going on. It sounds worse than those guys. It is an awful record, and Young Thug should be embarrassed. But this is the record that he's decided to release, and this is why he's upset. I'm going to play this clip from this thing, but as you look at the big picture, almost every single leak that came out, it showed Young Thug as a jealous, petty person who has nothing but bad things to say about people, whether they gave $1 million or not, whether they came to the jail or not, whether they looked out and put people on, quote unquote, or not. It doesn't matter. He finds something wrong with every single person, and now he came out. I want to say yesterday or the day before, talking about he was just effed up because he was in jail and he's trying to absolve himself. He only apologized to one person, which is Glorilla. I'm going to be honest. He put a post up today saying, I'm sorry for everyone involved. To me, that ain't no fucking apology. I'm just going to be honest. If I'm Future or one of these guys that you done talk shit about and you just put up a random post, I'm sorry to everyone involved after you went on this guy's post, a podcast, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of clips. One of the clips, he's claiming that everybody he talked about on those tapes, he already said all that in their face. He already told them man to man, but he only named 2 people, right? He talked, there's tapes of him talking about a lot of people, Kendrick, Andre 3000, a whole bunch of people, right? Drake, Wham, everybody. He has something to say about everybody. But he claims that the things that he said on these leaks, he's already spoken to them before this even happened. So it ain't nothing to really discuss with them. So apparently he's trying to spin it where I'm that kind of guy that I say these things to your face. I don't think that Future knew how he felt about him with his kids. And I'm damn sure don't think that Kendrick knew that he felt this kind of way. And I'm sure Drake wouldn't have dropped $1 million on him if he knew that he felt this kind of way. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't believe that Young Thug talked to all these guys about all the stuff that he said on them tapes. He already discussed it with him, like he's saying. So I really, truly have a lot of doubts about that and a lot of other things that Thug is saying in these clips. Salute the Bank. I believe that Bank did as good a job as can be, just based on clips. I'm sure the interview going to be more in depth, and I do understand that he is holding them accountable on some things, but I think that the major question that Banks, I'm going to go on a limb and say 100%, I can already tell he's not going to ask is, they're going to do any fucking thing. Is Gunna part of the gang? So when you line up everything that Young Thug is saying, he did get emotional and men get emotional. Who the hell wants to be in jail? I understand that. He started crying when he was talking about dude telling on him and this, that, and the third. So I can understand that. But at the end of the day, when you're telling me that you got betrayed by your brother, this, that, and the third, we need to put that into perspective. A lot of us got brothers, but every brother ain't a criminal. Every brother is not going to go to jail for 20 years for us. And every brother don't deserve to go to 20 years jail for us. Now, if we're going to peel back the layers, this guy's not going to ask him the real question. The first question he's not going to ask him is there really a gang? Is there really a difference between the gang and the record label? So right there, when we pull back the layers of this, Gunna was signed to the record label. I don't believe Gunna is part of the gang. All right, I'm just going to say that off the rip. I don't believe Gunna is part of the gang. If YSL is supposed to be a label and / a gang, there's a problem. So if you sign Gunna to the label, that means he doesn't have no obligations to the street codes that you're talking about. Yeah, he rapping about this, that, and the third. But from what I understand, I don't think he was ever part of any of the actual activities on the other side of the coin. It sounds like Young Thug wants to mix and blur the lines with this thing, and he wants everyone to stand on business. Well, if you sign me as an artist and you put all the money into me that you claim you put into me, I'm not here to be your bag man or any of this other shit. I'm not the drive-by shooter. I'm just a rapper that makes you a lot of money, way more money than these shooters and these thugs you got on the label to be whatever they're doing on the streets, because they got you in there for a reason. Let's just be honest. What I'm seeing is a man that really, allegedly, right, was the head of this organization, and now he's online, really shedding and pouring his heart out because somebody went and looked out for their self, right? The simple fact of the matter is, if he's an artist, he has no obligation to sit in that penitentiary as long as you are willing to wait until you take your deal like you took, or your brother or anybody else that took deals. Everyone else is allowed to take deals except for this guy, right? The rapper. He ain't the shooter. He ain't the dealer. He ain't the one that's calling the shots. And by your own admission, you're saying that the state had him as the number 2 guy. Where are they going to put that on him to make the pressure, make him fold? Which he should have folded. Now, the simple fact of the matter is, let's say if you're allegedly the boss, right? If you're the boss, then you got to handle this. You got lawyers for this. They can't prove nothing, right? At the end of the day, if you did nothing, ain't nothing to prove. Okay? So at that point, you just sitting there waiting in jail for your time to come so you can get out of there because your lawyer's going to lock this down, which the case was a shit show. It was never going to, the case was falling apart from the very beginning. So you just was in there waiting. You was biding your time. They was going to let everybody out at some point, which they ended up doing. They got egg on their face, one of the worst cases, the most expensive cases ever in the history of the state, and you went home. So now what you're doing when you're home, you're sitting here talking about who ratted, who snitched. We still talking about that shit. First of all, what he said in court, he's a civilian, gang. He's not a drug dealer, he's not a criminal. He's not doing crime. He's rapping for you. So at the end of the day, he could say whatever he wants, because at the end of the day, they got to prove that. Even though he says this, that, and the third, the state still had to prove their case, which they didn't. So you're still talking about a case that they couldn't prove. Yes, he most likely, he took an Alfred plea. He most likely, had they pressed the issue, he would have had to get on the stand, but he didn't. The thing is, Thug, if you listen to this interview, I'm about to play this in a minute, but Thug is living in the past where all he can focus on is this guy getting out, being free, being happy, living his life, still getting a big bag of money. The world ain't turning on him like you thought. And a lot of things went his way. He's running marathons and doing this, that, and the third, getting all these awards and whatever he got going on. And ain't nobody stopping him. Nobody doing nothing to him. Nobody approaching him on the street. He's still performing. Ain't nobody try to press him, do nothing to him. They rocking with him. They letting him live. And a lot of them are taking his side in the situation. You're home now. You're still dwelling on this who ratted, who didn't rat. This is the mistake. This is the problem that you are not seeing. Now, I'm going to play this, but I am going to stop it here and there, because what I'm seeing is, I seen Thug jump around hoops to say that the other guys are not as at fault as this guy. And when you really look at it, it feels like it's a personal thing with him, because later in the interview, he gets a little weepy, a little emotional, da-da-da. Yo, we was brothers. I would never turn on Gunna, da-da-da. Nobody asking you to turn on him, and he honestly didn't turn on you. Let's just be honest. If he's a rapper, he's not supposed to sit in jail for 10 years. If he's not doing none of the gang activity, he's supposed to say whatever, because he's a rapper. He's an artist, gang. Like, we got to stop this nonsense. It's like, if you're signing me to your label as a rapper, and then you go down for some crazy shit you're doing, and you expect me to do the 20 years with you, it ain't gonna happen. Okay? First of all, I'm not gonna be me personally, I'm not gonna be in the middle. I'm not gonna be no flunky for nobody anyway. I'm not gonna be up under nobody's wing that's doing no goofy shit like what's going on anyway with this. So it's just, I'm not the person for that. I've never have been. Right? I survive these streets because I'm smart. I'm not nobody's flunky. I'm never gonna be that. So that's why I'm here to this day. So I'm not gonna ever have to get on stand and be like, well, yeah, they're a gang or that again. It doesn't matter, because first of all, whatever I'm involved is me at the top. So I ain't worried about none of that. So the simple fact of the matter is, with him being just a rapper and an artist, he signed to you. You guys got a bag together. Somehow you're holding his bag over his head, like all the money I spent on you. So what, he supposed to spend mad time in jail for shit he didn't do? If he's in the gang, then say that. You never said who's in the gang, who ain't. You keep saying, yo, you snitched, da-da-da. Meanwhile, we heard some really suspect tapes of you telling the cops, take down your number. If they want to know any more information, they can just give you a call. But you're sitting up here telling Gunna he's a rat. We still ain't get past that. I hope Banks asked you about them shits. And I heard the clip where you're like, ain't no way, no how, da-da. You keep saying that you're not a rat doesn't mean by your standards, that's not what the streets is saying. Right? The streets are saying something different. But at the end of the day, for some reason, you're saying you're not one, and you're saying that he is. Everybody did the exact same thing that he did. You're giving them passes. You're making excuses. But for somehow, you keep gazing and you're laser focused on him, and it's starting to feel like jealousy. It's starting to feel like you don't want this guy to succeed because he got out and did it bigger and better than you've done it. He's excelled beyond that. When you first went in, everybody was like, oh man, free Thug, da-da-da-da-da. They thought everybody was finished, and when you came home, you was going to be running these streets again. Well, they don't even let you come back to Atlanta no more. So that's the first problem. And the second problem is, your artist, right? He's bigger than you now. He don't say a word. He's not on here talking about you at all. He's not talking about the situation at all. He never says nothing about YSL at all. This guy shuts his mouth, does his work, gets his money, goes state to state and does his job. For some reason, you're still the only one here still complaining about what Gunna did. I don't hear you really bitching about nobody else in the case. It was 28 defendants, but you keep talking about one of them. It's starting to reek like jealousy, gang. You got something against this guy, and it don't seem like you're mad. First of all, let's just be honest. You're the boss. If you're the boss, you got to expect somebody's going to roll on you. A whole lot of them rolled on you, gang. So you can't still be talking about that. As a boss, your job is, first of all, any boss in a criminal organization, no, they're going to get locked up at some point. It is what it is. It's about what you do and how you handle it. So you handled it low key, you handled it okay, but you made way too many phone calls that they listening to right now that we got public knowledge of, and we're hearing them now. So I don't know if you handled that time that well, and you're making it like, yo, I was fucked up. Well, who wouldn't be fucked up if they're in the cell 23 hours a day? That shit, I fell for you when you said that. But at the same time, it's a show called Beretta back in the day, okay? And the song comes on in the very beginning of the show. It used to give me the chills. The song goes, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And that song will tell you this shit to this day. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. One thing Young Thug never ever says is, I didn't do no crime. You never hear him say that. He says a lot of shit, but he never said, I never do no crime. I want you to show me the interview where he says that. He never says that. So at the end of the day, right, if you're Young Thug, right, thugs do crimes. Thugs do some wild shit out here in these fucking streets. Let's just be honest. So at the end of the day, if I'm the boss of a gang, I got a label in a gang, at some point, I know I need lawyers. I need my shit in point. I need to have my things in order, so when they do come and bag me up, I can be like fucking Peoples from fucking Shaft. I can be like, I'll be home in by 6 o'clock, right? Why they call you Peoples? Because you take care of your peoples? Pretty much. Pretty much. Like, listen, peoples ain't scared to go in there. And I'm not saying you were scared, but you're acting really like you're holding on to shit that's going to happen. They do RICOs because they want some people to roll. As a boss, you got to expect that somebody's going to roll, gang. You're still talking about guys that rolled and this and that, and then you're making excuses for the rest of them. You're still talking about Gunna because he's quote-unquote rolled, but he's your artist. He part of ain't it supposed to be two of them? YSL is Young Stoner Life, and then the gang was Young Slime Life, right? It's two different organizations. Ain't he part of the rapping part of it? So you blurring the lines, gang. If he's a rapper part of the rapping part, then he gonna tell the cops everything he knows. But everybody knew that when he first got back. They were like, Gunna gonna snitch. They said that the same fucking day. Before 24 hours, everybody said he's gonna say what happened, he's gonna snitch. And he didn't even say, he didn't snitch. He just said, I know it's a gang. It's your lawyer's job. It's your lawyer's job to prove that it ain't. It ain't Gunna's fucking job to sit in there for 20 years while you get your act together. It's your lawyer's job. Even if all of them say, every single person, every co-defendant says it's a gang, now what? So it ain't Gunna's job to sit there and for you to say, good job, young man, da-da-da, and then you decide one day to just take the plea, leave his ass in there. I keep telling y'all the street shit is a myth. Everybody looking out for themselves. You're mad at a guy who clearly did what he's supposed to do. Even 21 Savage said he was supposed to say that, Slam. 21 Savage said, look, about the gun charge that you guys caught, it was 3 of you in the car. That third guy was supposed to take the charge, and Gunna was supposed to say that. He said, you were supposed to say it too. And even on that call, which we heard, you were like, I know, gang, but da-da-da-da-da. And you started blaming Gunna all over again. You got it fucked up because even the real niggas that's out here is telling you what it's supposed to be. And you ain't listening because you so hyper-focused on this young man. You caught up on this young man and it's starting to reek of jealousy. I'm just going to be honest. Let me play this clip.
We all in this motherfucking trial pushing. YSL is not a game. This is the narrative. What's the worst betrayal you can do in a trial where we saying YSL is not a game? What's the worst you can do? Say it's a fucking game.
That ain't the worst you can do. That ain't the worst he can do. He can say a whole lot more than it's a fucking game. That's not the worst he can do. If he's snitching, he can sit down he can get a Big Mac. He can be like, bring me a Big Mac and some fries, and I'll tell you a whole lot of shit about these niggas. So no, that is not the worst thing he can do.
Nigga, them folk called you second in charge.
Which they gotta prove. See, what he's doing is he's cherry picking the case, saying, yo, they said you second in. They're gonna say a lot of shit. They're gonna try to pin a lot of shit on you. It's a RICO case. Don't you got Brian Steele and all these other motherfucking lawyers? That's why you home. It's not their job to take it light on you. They're gonna try to hit you with all shit. Your lawyer's job is to deflect it and get you out of jail. To make sure whatever they trying to stick you with don't stick. And ain't you home? You took a plea, right? You home. You got a few stipulations that you may not like, but your ass is home. So you're still talking about a case that was in the lawyer's hands at that point. A lot of these motherfuckers, a lot of people on that, according to the details of the case, a lot of them said it was a gang. It wasn't just Homeboy, but you're not talking about nobody else but Homeboy. Let me continue.
Before called you CEO, second man in charge.
Yeah. Hold up, let me say this though. What about the niggas who actually started YSL too? Didn't they take their plea before now?
No, he the first plea.
For real?
Gunna took the first, he know that.
Gunna didn't take the first plea. It's been proven that Gunna did his plea 2 days after the guy, DK, took his plea. But we're going to let Thug continue.
You know that.
He's going to say that several times with conviction. But a lot of this stuff that Young Thug says is over emotion. It's emotion. He's made his mind up about certain things. And this is the only way it is. This is how it's going to be because this is how I feel. He doesn't know the full dynamics of the case, or he's not being truthful and honest. But Gunna was not first.
I didn't know that.
Gunna took the first plea.
I thought them niggas already telling them.
No. Gunna took the... They had already told back in the day on crimes and shit that they was involved in and all that.
On the RICO?
Nah.
Nah, see, look.
The RICO came in 2022.
I'm thinking.
The RICO came March 9th, 2022, man.
What's the little dude?
May 9th.
From your hood. That's
DK.
Started, and who is another one too?
Slug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that them two are already saying like, just say Vincent, if me, Shy, and Cub start a gang, right?
Yes.
And we all identify as the 3 founders.
Right.
And we signed Thug. And the 2 founders saying, yeah, it's a gang. But Bank saying it's not. How is Thug wrong for just being an artist by saying it is too? That's what I'm thinking happened.
Nah, that ain't what...
Dude is making sense. He's saying, if I'm an artist and they asking me, is it a gang? And I say yes, why am I wrong? It's a logical question. Let's go even further. If he signs Lil Tay, right? The little girl, like, I'm fucking Lil Tay, you're broke. Da-da. If he signs her as an artist, right? And he has her popping for 4, 5, 6 years, and she's rocking with him, and she's rapping and doing all this and shit. And then he get locked up, and she get locked up with him on the RICO. Does he expect Lil Tay to go to fucking jail for him? Like, it ain't making no sense, gang. You signed this guy as an artist, not a criminal. The other guys that you have on the payroll as criminals, they'll be holding to that organizational, foundational codes of we don't tell. But this guy's an artist. He wants to go fucking home because he didn't do the crimes you're accused of. It ain't making no sense, gang. As a boss, you should know that. Say, okay, he's an artist. He's gonna roll. Your lawyer can eat that. The lawyer can be like, he don't know what the fuck it was because he's a fucking artist. Okay? So he's null and void off the rip. He doesn't know shit. He ain't see shit. So the lawyer gonna eat that right there. He won't even be on the stand for no reason because they be like, he doesn't have anything. He allegedly never gave them anything. He just said, I'm gonna say it's a gang, and I said, so you can't get on the stand and say that. What the fuck? What's that gonna do? So make this make sense. Let's continue.
What happened? That ain't what happened, man. The first plea took was Gunna plea.
It wasn't.
No, ever. The first plea took was Gunna. Slug, all them took pleas after Gunna. Everybody took the plea after Gunna.
So now he's blaming Gunna.
As mad at them as I can be as him. I should because y'all still grown men. No matter what they niggas say, y'all grown men. Just like me. When he said YZ was a gang, the smartest thing for me to do is say, yeah, it is a gang. Fuck it.
No, it's not the smartest thing to say it's a gang. You're the head of it. They only wanted your ass. So no, you're not going to say it's a fucking gang. No matter who says it, because they trying to put you in that bitch for life. Right? The only reason they gave you a plea because the case was falling apart. The case was falling apart. You were going to get acquitted. That's why they gave you a plea. They was like, this shit is getting really bad. It's looking really silly. It's going on mad long. End it. We got to end it. Give them a plea. Offer them something. Da da da. We're gonna still make it look. We're gonna save face and say you can't come to Atlanta. You got to do fucking shows about don't do drugs. Da da da. But end of the day, that case was falling apart. Gunna had, and it wasn't because of Gunna. He didn't strengthen it or make it worse or nothing. This dude just went home and started living his life. You're focused on this guy for some reason. He's coping with all the other guys. I should be mad at them. What the fuck kind of shit? What kind of nigga logic? Like, I should be mad at them. I should, because they grown men. You sitting here coping while he not even considering being mad at these niggas. Think about what I'm telling you. He haven't even considered being mad at them. He's like, I should be mad at them. I should. I mean, shit, they grown men. He's sitting here coping a way to figure out why they're not fucked up. Make it make sense, gang. Let me continue.
One of the niggas who they saying is a founder of it, he not even a founder. One of the niggas who they saying is a founder of it that came on out and took a plea and said it's a gang. You'll be a motherfucking idiot to sit in here saying that it's not a gang. Mm-hmm. When you got a nigga who these folk now labeled as the second man in charge.
That's what I thought happened, but the other way around.
They're going to say all kind of shit. They're going to say all kind of shit. Do you see what the guy in Colorado that allegedly killed those 4 college students. They had them dead to right. They had everything on them. They had this, that, and the third. They had the knife, da, da, da. They got all this shit on this guy. And right before this thing was supposed to really get going, they offered him a plea. It happens. The people, the victims' parents are really upset about it because they wanted more from it. They wanted to charge him and give him the death penalty, this, that, and the third, right? They offered him a plea. These things don't always go to trial. It's usually something just like with Diddy. When they started, they took Diddy to trial, but then they took a bunch of the charges off because they started realizing we can't prove this shit. And then they went and they called it, we're going to simplify the charges. They simplified the charges and gave him only a few. And then he beat all the other ones except for one that they gave him. Because they're not, first of all, these cases are getting sensationalized. They're running in with these things without all the eggs in the basket like they used to because they expect you people to take deals. And a lot of your guys did take the deal. You held out for a longer time than they expected. It started to realize, oh, this case is shaky. We need to do something before we get egg on our face and this guy walk away scot-free. Then he walking around the land like the king of this place. So they took a deal, you took it. All right? But it ain't that simple as, they call you the number 2. They're going to say everything. Didn't they call you the kingpin of this shit? Are you the kingpin? Make it make sense. Are you sitting at home? They said a lot of shit that they didn't prove. But you're making it like, yo, because they said this about you, then you are that. It don't make no sense. Let me continue.
Wow. No, he took the plea first. Gunna took the plea first. Then them niggas started taking the plea when we started going to court. Gunna didn't ever make it in the courtroom, remember? The first day of court was November 17th.
So, and he says it like they held out longer, so that's more honorable. They didn't take their pleas till they got to court.
December 17th, one of them days were the first time we wasn't on Zoom. The first time we went into an actual courtroom, all 28 of us.
But watching that shit from the street, but that shit was like some DJ, another one. Every day, another one.
But the crazy part is,
another one.
Get what, Bank? Even if them niggas some bullshit anyway, but some bullshit too, but even if them niggas, just look at it from their point of view. Niggas like DK slug all them niggas. I still don't respect them niggas because you just not me. Y'all niggas just not me. Shouldn't no nigga make you do nothing that you don't supposed to do.
He didn't make him. What gang? What are we talking about? The rapper made the thugs do something like he went and physically and shook these niggas and said, "Y'all better take the plea deal." He's literally putting all of it, all of the deals. Even after Gunna went home and they stayed in prison. At that point, they could have stayed in there. They all took their deals. He said after they went to court, they started taking their deals. They started saying, "I'm not trying to stay in here. I'm not trying to face 20, 30, 40 years when I can just say it's a gang and go the fuck home." People not loyal. This street code shit is some bullshit. I told you this in the last video. I said people are only going to do what they got to do for themselves to survive. He should know that. If you're the fucking boss, you know that. If you're the head of any organization, you got to look at all these motherfuckers going to snitch at some point, to some degree. You got to be ready for that. You got to be ready to do your life in prison if you're going to send out hits and this, that, and the third. You got to be ready to do whatever it takes to be who that boss going to be or don't do the crime. But he's sitting in here, he's coping, right? He's making it like, yo, these other guys, but they can't, a man can't make it. You just got to be a man, stand on business. But he softens his tone when he talks about these guys. He's not jealous of them. They don't have shit on them. They don't have #1 records and this, that, and the third or whatever this guy got going on. They don't have none of that. So they're not a threat. So he has no issue with them. Let me continue.
But just look at them. Okay, Gunna take a plea. He the head nigga in charge, according to the DA.
According to the DA. See, he keeps stressing according to the DA because he knows he's not. He knows he has nothing to do with it. He knows that. But he's making it like, according to the DA, da-da-da. It doesn't matter. These people know who's in charge. They're not going to follow Gunna's lead. It don't make no sense, gang.
Thug is boss man. Thug John got it, what they saying. Thug John got it. I don't know John got it now. I'm a real man. Solid nigga. I build foundations. I help niggas. I'm not portraying no gangster, no none of that. It just so happened we just street niggas and we done stood on our business. So they label us gangsters. I don't push none of that. I push real man.
Now, in that vein, real man, you would understand. And in another clip, he goes, I could see if Gunna had a family, some kids to get home to, then I could see that. It doesn't make any sense to try to cope and justify reasons to go against the code that you've established. If you've established a code, then it's the code. It ain't no wiggle room. It ain't no way around it. It ain't no way. He's doing too much flipping and bouncing and trying to dance around and make it where there's a code, but if this and that and da-da-da. Like he said, in all due respect, he said his brother, he had no issue with his brother doing it because his brother needed to get home because the mama had two brothers, two sons in prison, so one of them need to go home. That's coping with the deal. That he bent the code for that. I'm just going to be honest. So at the end of the day, if we're going to bend code for one, we got to bend it for all of them. Right? And at the end of the day, what we're doing right now is we're looking at this whole thing like we all have grown up with this. Don't snitch, don't rat, da 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 da. And it is what it is. It's a real thing. It's a thing where, okay, if we're all doing this together, we're going down together, da da da. Don't tell on me, I won't tell on you, da da da. But at the end of the day, this ain't that. This ain't that. And even if it was, as a boss, you don't need to be on here trying to deflect it and throw all this shade at the dude because it's either you gonna handle it or you ain't. We don't need to know nothing about it. You need to move forward and do your music and put some music out that people going to enjoy. Do a tour, live your life. You're living backwards. You're still going back. He said on another tape that he was like, every time that these leaks come out, I relive this pain from being in prison. And Mariah relives it too. We start to cry because it ain't about, we don't care about the leaks. We don't care what's on there. We just care about how dark my place was when I was in prison. Well, you're on this show still talking about that time. You're bringing it up. Why? Because the tapes got leaked and now you're trying to defend and deflect and trying to spin it onto Gunna. And you're trying to make Gunna come out the woodwork and start replying. He ain't going to reply. Don't make no sense to reply to this because it's all nonsense. Dude has moved on. He is a artist, and this is what he was saying from day one. So ain't no artist going to sit there and do no time for no other dudes that's doing all this running. I don't know if he was being sent on drills, this, that, and the third. Let's just be honest. If you're the boss gang, let's just be, as a person from the streets, just like you, if I'm going to be the boss, I'm going to take certain responsibilities are mine. He's putting his getting locked up on Gunna. He's making it like it's Gunna's fault that I had a charge. It's Gunna's fault that I almost did time. It's not Gunna's fault, gang. People going to protect themselves. It's up to you to protect yourself and have your eggs in a row. Just worry about your case. You're only worrying about this one man's case and you're making excuses for everybody else that took a plea. It's starting to look like you're jealous of them. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to leave it at that, man. You let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. All right, every Wednesday night we go live on the What Show. Me, TJ, and Flares around 9:15. Tap in. Also, head on over to black-yeti.com. All right, he ships all over the continental U.S. He got some new flavors up there. Okay, all right, man. Listen, I talk about this because this is part of rap. It's part of hip hop, and this is what I do, man. This is my job. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be involved with all this street, this and that, and the third. This ain't my agenda on this channel. But this is hip hop news. This is rap news. This is part of what is going on in the hip-hop community, and I'm discussing it. All right, I'm going to catch you on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high-quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat. Get my sheepskin. Grab my wallet. Get my pocket knife. And get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within. With the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin. With the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end. And then secured a spot with some goons and some kin. And then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word, and he the one that got it cracking, and all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like past fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe, then put some food in his face, and he'll kill for you. But I don't need him for that. Click like, click share. Tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location. Tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here. We ain't the cheese, we the trap.